Aloha, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Will Johnson. Once again, I interviewed him before. Wonderful, wonderful teacher of embodiment that that I felt. So I felt the transmission of his teachings, which is really wonderful. So he's the director of the Institute of Embodiment Training and the founder of Bambu Hueco, a retreat center in Costa Rica that views the body as a doorway to spiritual growth and transformation. He's the author of several books, including The Radical Path to Somatic Dharma, Radiant Body, Radiant Mind, and Breathing Through the Whole Body and Eyes Wide Open. So he teaches a deep body oriented approach to sitting meditation at Buddhist centers around the world. I'm reading this, so this is my brief introduction to you, Will. But the question that I always ask everyone, as you know, and even if they are kind of guests that I interview them again for the second, third, 10th time, I ask the same question. How would you introduce yourself? Who are you in this very moment?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm kind of fanatically drawn to practices of awakening, and the specific practices that I'm drawn to are not so much. We usually think of meditation as something we do with our minds. This is very different,
Right.
although there is a lot of scripture that supports what it is that I'm doing. But they're practices that awaken the shimmering feeling presence of the body and liberate breath. Liberate breath. We breathe so small, and the practices in through the deep relaxation that can occur, really through every cell of the body.
Yeah.
You just let go, and that kind of swoony, deep, full breath. It's not a forced breath. It's one that occurs through letting go. So that's kind of who I am, I guess.
Yeah. It sounds very simple to me. So, do you see this as a calling? Is it a mission, a calling, a divine alignment? How do you see what you're doing?
I look back on my life, and there are times when uh, the die is cast at a very young age. I have a brother who's a couple of years older than me, who is going around and introducing himself
Yeah.
uh, as a business person.
Yeah.
He's been fabulously successful. I was having very unusual but very wonderful experiences falling to sleep at night as a young child.
Yeah.
And it would happen maybe a couple of times, two, three times a week. I'd always feel it when it was coming on. It was very physical, very visceral. I'd be lying in my bed, and there'd be some kind of physical awakening of
Mm.
vibratory sensation throughout my body. And then I'd feel myself just dropping, dropping. I wasn't leaving my body. I
Right.
wasn't having an out of body experience, but it
Right.
was just dropping right through the mattress into dirt, further, further into the earth. And it would really become very merged with the whole of the universe. Now, I
Right.
generally don't like to make too big of a deal out of that because, the practices that I teach are not dependent on people having these kinds of experiences. They're just for
Mm.
normal folks, okay? That we're aware that
Mm.
something needs to awaken, and in truth, uh, Valeria, my life, for the most part, with
Yeah.
lots of detours, but for the most part, has been about figuring out, probing what that was about. I would always go into that state, and there were no words. I could not bring any language. So I always thought, oh, I should figure out
Mm.
what's going on. I'll tell my mom about it, right? And
Yeah.
never was able to. It's really wordless.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
these are the practices that I guess, by intention and sometimes stumbling upon them, that
Right.
my life has really been about finding these practices. And yeah, I do feel I want to share these. I want to share these. People want to know about these practices, and the Buddhist Dharma, as it moves into the West, wants to embrace the particular kind of homegrown explosive awakening practices that have happened here. So it's a mixture of that, and yeah, I do enjoy doing it. I like sharing it. It's a
Mm.
calling I I do like sharing it.
Yes, I love listening to it and sharing it too. That's yeah, it feels like a calling to me doing that as well. What is the goal of this? That's what we call awakening. So a lot of people having spontaneous awakening, and one of the challenges has been to become more of a scientific kind of almost kind of event, right? Experience, and then it has that's the challenge I see. How do we kind of come to this state of being that's natural, our true self, um, with a with a map, almost like a scientific, with a
Yeah,
natural way. Is
yeah,
that
the
what
maps are,
you're doing?
yeah, I understand. And the maps are important. We need to have a little bit of understanding. Now, I have a couple of little principles that I play with. Those
Mm,
are my maps. But the
yeah.
goal isn't to perfect any
Mm,
one of those little, I call them body koans, somatic koans. They're
right.
just guides that kind of help me transition from the quality of consciousness that passes as normal in the
Yeah.
world at large. Nothing wrong with it. We all live there, but it's very limited. It's very limited for what human being could experience in this life.
Mm,
And
mm,
my play is I have these practices, and then it's kind of a journeying through a transition from starting off with a place, what Rumi, the Sufi mystic Rumi, would call the consciousness of separation, totally normal. I
mm,
am this character living in this body. Everything
mm,
inside is me. Everything outside is other than me. From that place of separation to what Rumi would call the consciousness of union, which
yeah.
is an expansive, altogether natural, powerful, letting go, awakening of
Mm,
powerful energies through every single cell of the body, and
mm,
and a liberation of the breath.
mm,
So deep, profound relaxation.
yeah.
That's kind of what I play with.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, 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 a billion times. And I love the
Mm.
word play that you just mentioned in the end. So, and that's something that, well, means a lot to me in a sense, kind of the more, because I did a lot of these intellectual studies of all kinds of religious and spiritual teachings throughout my life. And I felt like something was missing, and that's the embodiment, isn't it? It has not, yeah, the body would say no to it. Oh, did you ask me about this before doing it? So for some people, it requires a lot of different methods. And I know one of the methods that you advocate in a way, and you teach, is the usage of psychedelics, which I think is very, very, very helpful too. I have not done a full dose. Oh, actually, I did, but was involuntarily in the Shambhala Center in France. So they gave it to me, a piece of cake, and then that was it. I was just completely out there doing all kinds of crazy things. I mean, it was nice. It looked crazy, but it wasn't. Before, I was actually very grateful for the experiences I had because I could see so much of the depth of the unconscious. It helped me, kind of guided me. So, but talk to me about that. Is that something? Is that per se the quicker way to achieve that embodiment?
Everybody has to make that decision for themselves.
Right.
Uh, if we can say something that I teach, everybody has to take personal responsibility for themselves. The
Mm,
reality now, in my Sangha, I have people, half the Sangha is what I call Pure Land. These are people coming out of traditional uh, Dharma practices, and they don't drink coffee, they wouldn't take alcohol, and they wouldn't take even small amounts of any mind altering substance. Then I have my people that I call Ganja Sangha. And these are people that have found, often with cannabis, although will experiment with small amounts of psilocybin and
yeah.
small amounts of LSD as well,
Yeah.
that because these practices are so body awakening. And what I mean by that is we have all this shimmery,
Mm,
tingly
mm,
sensation that could be felt everywhere through the body, but when we're in our minds, we just shut that down.
Yeah.
But because these practices are so body awakening and breath liberating, these kinds of substances, many of us have found in small amounts, can be extremely helpful as catalytic starters to deepen into the practices. So many of us look. We come out of a culture. I call it a
Yeah.
somatophobic bias of our culture that
Yes. Jumping.
we're kind of shut down. We live in our minds, but I'm talking about very, very different. Really, really waking. I call it the shimmer,
Yeah.
awakening this
Mm,
feeling presence. Sometimes it's tingly, sometimes it's wave-like.
mm,
It's often pleasurable, but it's going to take you down into deep places that you don't even know about, that are
mm.
held and viscous, and and allow those places to release.
Yeah.
What's interesting in my experience is that the orientation to practices coming over from Asia, as wonderful as the wisdom teachings are, they're coming out of very different cultures.
Right.
Okay, and it's also interesting. Every time the Dharma has moved, it's changed. It meets what's going on. But
Mm,
those
mm.
practices coming over from Asia, or the orientation, that one, it is very, very still.
Yeah.
It's almost, sitting like a stone garden statue,
Yeah.
like the Buddha. And it's very mind oriented, focusing concentration on an object. To me, the substances don't work very well for
Yeah.
those practices because it's so kind of held. But these practices that, my practices, first of all, are very motile. You
Mm,
find that you start awakening, the body relaxes.
the dance.
Breath, click, click, click. It's very amoeba like through the
Mm,
entire body. Just like how a wave moves through a body of water.
yeah.
And there's an awakening that ensues that for many of us, these kinds of substances, only in small amounts, because I want people to still be able to sit upright, playing with this magical upright
Mm,
vertical allows you to let go.
right.
For me, when I take strong doses of substances, you're lying on your back out in nature and just surrendering. But I'm wanting to use these substances for the practices, and they work very well.
Yes, I can hear that in your voice, even. Yes, and I have heard about it, of course. It's actually well documented these days, right? Well, it's a very effective scientific approach to mental health.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it's interesting. Uh, in the '60s, yeah, I I was a full blown '60s hippie, right?
Oh, yeah.
The whole bit, sex, drugs, and rock and roll
Yes.
was wonderful, and there was also an encouragement to experience who we were. So, we thought we kind of owned how psychedelics would be used. You
Yeah.
pop it in your mouth, and you go up into the mountains, and you just
Yeah.
awaken into deep, deep, deep centers that we don't really have access to. Now, currently, right now, it seems that the psychotherapeutic community would like to claim ownership of
Right.
psychedelics. And hey, it's wonderful. What they're doing, uh, helping with PTSD, with trauma,
Yeah.
with addictions.
Yeah.
I see different levels, maybe, of using psychedelics to really, really heal and enlighten ourselves. And all of us need to deal with our personal psychology, whether we do psychedelic psychotherapy or whatever, to bring to more awareness, the shadowy stuff, to actually be able to feel the holding
Mm,
that's there in the body.
mm,
And that's wonderful. Then I would love to suggest to the psychedelic psychotherapists that when they've done some really
mm.
wonderful work with clients, okay, graduation time, go
Yeah.
on a vision quest.
Right.
Go up into the mountains, go to the shore, be alone, take a good strong dose and open and awaken. So there's that. Now, both of those levels, you're using very, very large doses. Now, for me, then there is a third level. Okay, we've had these extraordinary healings and awakenings. What do we do? I, I'm a fanatic for practice. I would like to see
Mm,
people, okay, here's a sitting practice, a meditation practice.
yeah.
Do it for an hour a day. You can use very small amounts of substance and continue to nurture and foster the healing and the awakening that you
Mm,
experienced with the large doses.
mm,
So
yeah.
that's kind of what I'm sharing with people. And it's very controversial. You can understand that. It's
Oh,
certainly the most controversial piece that I bring to the Dharma conversation. The most radical one is my insistence that if we're really to relax and
mm,
just let go of all the
mm,
mental conditioning and the
mm,
tissue holding that supports it, bodies have to be allowed to move. I really hammer away at the stone garden statue of the Buddha
right.
possible because to me it just brings pain. People have gone through Vipassana retreats, Zen
Oh,
sessions.
yeah.
Wisdom teaching is wonderful, but the pain can be enormous where you're just sitting there fighting just what
Yes.
naturally wants to play through you, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
uh, the sitting that I do, this is the most radical piece I bring. It's very motile, almost spontaneously dancerly, both
Mm,
because there is just a surrender to this force that
right.
wants to move, right? And
Right.
then
Mm,
there's the surrender to the breath itself.
yeah. Yeah.
Ordinarily, we breathe tiny, tiny, tiny,
I know.
right? And then first level of Dharma instruction, just become aware, bring it to awareness. The front of the body, it's still very small, but you become aware, become smoother, more regular. It's a beautiful practice. It's not where the instructions end. The culminating instruction the Buddha tells us is as you breathe in, somehow feel how it can through
Yes.
the whole body. And everything has to move. You cannot experience that if you're sitting very still and frozen.
That's so true. How did you come to this realization? Was it just practice? Because you love practicing it, you said. The more you practice, the more you.
Yeah, I guess I've had the benefit and the really good advantage of doing sitting practices with wonderful teachers
Mm,
from Vipassana, from Zen, from the Vajrayana.
yeah.
But I never formally affiliated
Mm,
myself with any one lineage and tradition. To be honest,
right.
I didn't. There were things I didn't like.
Right.
It just seemed kind of a rigid, formal
Mm,
uh, container for
mm,
this wide open, blossoming experience. So what I
mm,
did, I focused on the denominator that's common to all of them. That's the sitting posture itself. And where much of my inquiry began, and I think this is going to be very familiar to some of the people who are watching
mm,
this, who've done Zen sessions or Vipassana retreats, Vajrayana datans. The wisdom teachings are great, but oh, the sitting is miserable. It
yeah.
really is. And uh,
True.
I knew there had to be a better way. And so a lot of my inquiry is how do I make this posture of
Mm,
sitting into something joyous and
mm,
alive? Now, look, I had great
mm,
good fortune. This is a little bit of a detour, but it's interesting, I think, for people.
yeah.
I was a personal student and knew Ida Rolf, the great 20th century somatics therapist. I studied with her. What people know as Rolfing today is not entirely what she wanted it to be. You
Mm,
know, deep hands on work. Hey, it's wonderful work. It's mostly now oriented towards physiotherapeutic betterment.
ah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's great. That's not what she had in mind
Right.
at all. And she
Mm,
would talk about
mm,
there's it's not a place, it's a play, playing with
Mm,
the upright. You know, look at,
I
if you're
love
in a body like
that.
this, you can't let go, because if you let go, you fall on your face.
Yeah.
But if you play with, I call it the secret door. She called it the line, but it's just playing with upright balancing, and that
Hmm.
allows everything to start softening, letting go, and it has to move. So I had that as a background, and I heard her saying things that, in her words, were direct reflections of the Buddha saying,
Mm,
as you breathe in through the whole body. Rumi saying, bringing breath to life,
mm,
the essence of every true path of spiritual awakening. He
mm,
also went on to say it's the remedy for everything that causes you
mm.
dis-ease. So,
Right.
I had this, background through Ida, and in many ways, that's a lot of what I've brought, into the practice. Even so, I heard it in the late '70s, and it took me up into the '90s
Yeah.
to get it. I started doing serious practices with teachers. It was wonderful. It also got to a point. This
Yeah.
is kind of interesting. I became a good Buddhist boy when I was 31 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Mm,
and during my 20s, often with substances and playing with upright balancing and letting go,
mm.
big openings. Uh,
Right.
my first Goenka retreat was very, very powerful and also very painful. And I decided, okay, I better stop
Mm.
playing around I better get serious. I became a good Buddhist boy for 13 years.
Wow.
And it was good. And 13 years later, I woke up one morning and I had to admit to myself I was not happy.
Mm.
And that the trajectory of awakenings that was occurring during my 20s had actually been shut down a bit.
Right.
And I had to give myself permission to
Mm,
honor, the Dharma that comes through one's own experience. Uh,
mm,
Lots
mm,
of trial, lots of experimentation, and
mm.
I feel like I got kind of lucky. I took some risks.
But that's it. That's what it takes. The risk of knowing oneself. Basically, you stop listening to the outside only, and you went in. Like, wait a minute, this is more true.
Ex- Exactly. The risk of, well, I can kind of relax and let go, and oh, there's strong energies that are wanting to wake up and come through. Oh, wow, they're really, okay, here goes nothing. I'm just letting go and seeing
Right.
what they do and where they take me. And
Right.
for me, a lot of it is this liberation of this current of the life force,
Oh, it's
that the
beautiful.
awakening of the body and the liberating of the breath
Mm,
uh, opens, or, reveals to us, right?
right. It feels like a living. It's almost like a living. You're becoming a tree itself. Like a beautiful tree. And I think that's what we are, right? Where we're not apart from nature. We are nature, but we learned to identify too much with the mind, with thinking, and that's what kind of separates us from apparently
Absolutely,
from nature,
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
mind.
I call it the ticker tape parade of
Yeah.
random and hidden thought that goes through, and those words. It's
Yes.
it's a language. We hear a silent language,
Mm,
and who's the speaker of
right.
all those words? I. So
Right.
we create, and I is a complete demarcation of separation.
Yes.
I am, kind of poured like milk into a carton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is my body. This again is the separation, and this again is what all the great ones. Certainly that I've been inspired by. Rumi in particular is saying, no, 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 that's fine, but it's too much suffering, the Buddha says, too much pain. And we have this birthright condition of what Rumi calls like a consciousness of union. It's not separation, it's the I, the separate mind, just kind of dissolves. And in its place is an extensibility that is very palpable, very real. It's not just an airy
Mm,
concept. And
mm,
it's interesting you
mm.
say you feel like a tree. One of
Yeah,
my all-time favorite Buddhist poems.
yeah.
Uh, it's really in a sense about this practice. It starts out, the body is the tree of
Mm,
awakening.
right. Ah,
When the body awakens, mind becomes just like a clear mirror. And
right,
then our job is just to keep that clarity there. And it's so interesting. We keep the clarity there by continuing to let go of any grabbing, the
right,
physical grabbing, that we feel, that
right.
that tightens and stops or blocks this current of the life force from just moving through us. The great 20th century Vipassana teacher Ubakin talked about, yeah, first of all, you want to he called it activate anicca. That I call it awaken the shimmer, because
Mm,
everything's changing. Anicca, it's changing. So
yeah,
feel this, it's just change.
yeah.
He says then that gains access to, he called it a force, the Nibbana Dhatu, a force of enlightenment that you just then surrender to. And it just keeps like a current in a river. Now for me, I love those statements. It's just that for me, forces, I think the how do you pronounce this? Sine qua non of a force is that it moves.
Yeah.
Forces move, right? And for me, it's fine liberating this current and then just riding it like a surfer on a wave.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. The more
But,
listening
but
to you, yeah, the body wants to move. Almost like, yeah,
no, and
that's it.
it's trusting, trusting in this.
Yeah,
If I
that's it.
let go, it just,
Yeah,
wow, it
yeah,
just
it's
keeps very subtly, very softly.
right,
Or
right.
sometimes it can be strong energies, strong gesticulations.
Oh, yeah.
But it's always about yielding, allowing. Uh, in Indonesia, there's a form of practice called latahan. Do you know about the latahan?
No, no.
Yeah, it's what we're talking about. People will come, they'll do the practice, they go into a room, they stand, and they just start letting the body move.
Yeah,
In the West, Emily Conrad is no longer with us. Continuum work
yeah.
was very like that. That's one form of movement. We
Mm.
don't do sit and stand still like this. It
Yeah.
hurts. It hurts, and it just shuts us down.
That's it. Yeah. It sounds and it feels so natural. So we have lost the way, right? Well, for so many, I mean, for thousands of years now, being identified with the mind, with thinking, and then civilizations that have been kind of structured around them, around mental constructs too. And then now we are born kind of, already in this type of cage, that we're supposed to be this way, follow, certain rules, even with the body, and don't do this, you can't do this, you cannot even. Yeah. So do you see now, what is your vision for, yeah, for the future of humanity? Now, are we evolving to join the dance again of natural living, natural?
It's entirely an individual decision and
Yeah,
choice. And entirely luck. You take a look around the world right now; it's not particularly happy,
right,
and
right.
and, it, and we see the outcome and the effect of living a life
Yeah,
that frankly shuts the breath down, puts a suffocating blanket over
yeah,
these shimmering sensations that could be felt, radiating through the body. And I mean, we have to do that to really become this up here. You know what I call this sometimes? This it's the mind. We all know what it is. It's couldn't be more natural, right? I call it the virtual
yeah,
virtual reality headset because it's
right.
we kind of see it almost like a uh,
Mm, yeah,
smoky image. things on a phantom screen. I call them above titles. They go
Yes.
out, and that's where we live, and what we have to shut the breath down and suffocate sensations to be able
Mm.
to function there. But it really, really causes an extraordinary amount of pain. Look, there's wonderful things about
Oh, of
thinking,
course.
the ability to think. We'll see what AI does, but previous to that, thinking was the greatest technological achievement of humans,
Right.
right? The ability to put words together and create concepts. Here's another slight detour, but it's a fun one. At university, I befriended I had a mentor, a professor, a philosophical psychology professor named Julian Jaynes, who some people may know. He wrote a book called The Origins of Consciousness and the Breakdown of the Bicameral Mind.
Oh,
Uh, Julian would talk about how thousands and thousands of years ago, uh, language was starting, and then some people started hearing voices in their head, started hearing language in their head. And initially, they were looked upon as the priests of the new emerging culture. This was God speaking through them,
right.
right?
Right.
Now, it was special then, it's not anymore.
Right.
We all do it to a point that we cannot turn the radio off.
Right.
And that's a lot of what I'm after. Uh, Really paying attention to the conditions in body and breath that, well, it's a shutting down of both. And you can actually feel the tensioning in the cranium through the body that
Right.
accompanies thinking. Okay. And
Right. Right.
just feeling those, letting go of those tensions. And then body comes alive again. That starts awakening, and this virtual reality headset with its belief in separation. Look, it's the world of form. It's totally accurate for the world of form. I'm in here, everything else is out
Mm.
there.
Mm.
You have to get good at that. But the Heart Sutra or the quantum physicist David Bohm, they'll tell us no, the world of form, yeah, but it's only half of what's going on. There's
Mm.
also this underlying extensibility, vast, that we could gain access to and actually meld the two. And, that for me is when the happy stuff starts happening.
Mm. The happy stuff.
So, it's interesting. I mean, I do look back on my life, and I was always drawn. This is my brother was drawn to business. I was always drawn to there's something going on here
Yeah.
that is deeper. It's a deeper, part of me. I mean, I had this uh, my persona through university. I was an art history major, and I went on to write art criticism in New York. I had this persona of being kind of a bon vivant Ivy League art critic, right? And hey, look, it's part of what this is. But then when I first started waking up, and look at I'll put this out because it's very, very true. The first time I was 19 years old, that's when cannabis came into my life. And the very first time I smoked cannabis, I felt it was like God's medicine.
Mm.
I immediately was shown, yes, this is persona, but there's something so much deeper and so much vaster. And
Mm.
that's what, kind of rekindled what had happened in my childhood and set me off on, this journey of discovering. It's not, it's always discovering. There's no end to discovering because there's no end to to letting go and just riding
Uh,
this current,
right.
right?
That's it. Yeah. I usually use the word uncovering instead of
Uncovering.
discovering.
That's
It's almost like
I like that.
going the deeper you go with the layers and layers and layers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like to me, but I think it's just word when you're using words, it's the same thing. So you mentioned a happy place. So happy, it brings you to this happy space, or state of being. But my question is, would that also end suffering? That's my main interest when I come across any form of healing or spiritual teachings. Does it end suffering? Is that the end of suffering? And then that's always my question. What? Talk to me about
We're,
that for a moment.
we're human. We're human. So we're going to have pleasurable sensations. We're going to have unpleasant sensations.
Right.
And we're going to have challenge. Oh, we're going to have, wow, that just worked out so great for me. And oh, no.
Oh, the opposite.
That happens. What I do know is that I have a choice to make in every breath I take. In every breath I take. And as this next breath, I often say, this practice is just about how much can one let go at the onset of the next inhalation through the whole body.
Right.
Ah,
Hmm.
okay. And then how about the next one? Oh, when I do that, I like being alive. I like being alive. And then, oh, I'll hold my breath. Everything will get still. I'll go up into my mind, and then I feel the pain, the pressure, the pain coming back, and then I feel the separation and like bumper cars with with reality, a complete cessation of suffering. Uh, if I can uh, let go of a little bit of the pressure and the chronic pain that comes from being caught in the mind, in my next breath, I feel like I'm doing a good job. That's what I'm after. I always remembered
Yeah.
when I got into backpacking years and years ago. I would go up into the Sierra Mountains in California. That was my church,
Wow. Yeah.
right? And I remember there was a book on backpacking that I got. It said, "Don't worry about the pounds. Worry about just take care of the ounces." And I think
Yeah.
of that too. Instead of, oh, I want to, we have to, rid ourselves and the planet of all suffering. Just the next breath, just
Mm,
the,
mm,
and then the next breath,
mm,
and the
mm,
next breath. And those can accumulate
mm.
and
Wow.
create.
Yeah.
We can get into then. And there's
Ah,
not
mm,
having to actually do it. I'm just kind of surrendering to the current, and it's just taking
ah.
me. So when I do that, I'm happy, and when I don't do that, I'm as challenged
Right.
as anybody.
Wow. Thank you. This is such a beautiful way of teaching because that's exactly it. It goes back to, is that the same thing as Eckhart Tolle with his message about being in the present moment, being here now, be here now, be here now, be here now, always now, now, now. And
It's all about now, 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 but it's not just about. To me, it's not just about being here now.
mm,
It's about awaken, really becoming aware of what here now is,
right.
letting go. So it's interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
one of my practices with people is that we're just going to play like we're a broom getting balanced on an upright hand while we're sitting
Mm,
here. Another one is, okay, I want to awaken the feeling presence in the whole body. Now, I don't just want to become aware of what the sensations feel like.
mm.
Okay.
Ah,
And this is a bit of a difference
yeah.
between, or this is how I guess my practice has evolved out of Bakin,
Right.
Vipassana. And I'm not here putting my awareness in parts of my body,
Mm,
becoming
mm,
aware of the sensation, feeling, hey, look at it's wonderful.
mm,
That's step one. I talk about
mm.
it first of all. Look at these sensations are here all the time.
Right.
So I send out invitations. I talk about like sending out invitations for every single cell of the body. Although you can go through the body part by part as well. But I'll send out an invitation, say to the cranium, it's okay, let your sensations come back. They've been exiled, the land of the unfelt. It's okay
Yeah.
for that feeling to be here. Now look at as soon, that's the awareness. Let's be here now. But as soon as the sensation accepts my invitation, then
Mm,
I want to greet it with this gesture of letting go and relaxation. So
right.
there's this, and then, just letting go through the whole body.
Mm.
I said, look at now. Yeah, it's all about now. It's all
Yeah.
about now. But I want to hook into the visceral uh, current, life
Mm,
force of now. I don't want to just sit back in a
mm,
very tight body in my mind and okay, I can see things in the visual field, I can hear things. This classical mindfulness, and I don't want to give the impression that that I think it's not the right thing to do because it's one of the good news stories of our planet. I just want the
mm,
mindfulness practices, the be here now practices, to evolve from the Buddha's opening instruction on breathing, just to be aware. Just be aware. Open your eyes. Hey, there's a visual field. Oh, I'm
right.
breathing. Not very much, but at least I'm aware of it. What
Mm,
happens if we would start doing mindfulness practices, not from that first instruction, but from the culminating instruction, come
mm,
alive and breathe through the whole body, and breathe through the whole body.
right.
Then the now that we're being herein is truly
Mm,
joyous. It's
yeah,
true.
that is
It's
true.
viscerally joyous. And it's interesting, Valerie. It's not so
Mm,
much a joy like, oh, I'm so happy. I mean, it is
right.
that, but it's a joy beyond the personal. It's just,
Mm,
oh,
mm, mm,
this is,
mm.
oh,
Huh.
this is normal. Well, it's not normal, but this is natural.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. That's it. So it's really I mean, if we can, I know you were using words, and I know the practice is beyond words, right? Because when we sit with you and we take your invitation, then it becomes a lot more something that it's experiential. It's something that, I mean, we do the microdosing or the whole dosing. So it's different. But if I can, yeah, joy is something that comes to me as the state of being, it's aliveness. Oh, it's almost like in a sense, the mind realizes that, wait a minute, what is this? It feels like everything feels very fresh and different. I think it's a sense of gratitude and love too that arises in the mind, or perhaps in the body. It's always in the body, but then the mind understands that at some point it gets it, and then you start smiling for no reason, like happy for no reason. That's what I call joy. But I do feel like this strong sense of innate, I can't explain, of gratitude of being here. I don't even know what this is, but what is it and what am I doing here? I don't even know, but it feels, this is interesting. It's fascinating. And then I
Well,
start laughing and all that with no psychedelics, with no, because
we,
it seems like this is in us too, right? We don't have to. For me, it has been the case.
I mean, I don't know what this character got born into the
Right.
world of form and I haven't a clue what's going on here.
Right.
What is this? But
Yeah.
it's interesting, and I want to know. And it's true. The words are like fingers pointing to the moon. And this is one thing that's interesting. A bit different. What I'm doing from very classical Zen or Rinzai Zen, they use koans,
Yes.
these kind of alogical statements, or it's words, and
Yeah.
you see that you puzzle it, you puzzle it, you puzzle it. I do what I call somatic koans.
Uh,
Just a secret door. Just find this place, this imaginary friend where you're playing with the upright. Send
mm,
out your invitations to every cell of the body and relax them.
right. Right.
The Buddha says, figure out how to breathe through the whole body. How do you do that?
Mm,
So it
yeah.
has nothing to do with verbal language. It's the language of sensation, the language of
Mm,
learning how relaxing and letting go alters sensation, or
right.
releases holding, and the
Yeah.
holding is just what keeps what you're talking about hidden from us, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I really appreciate too that you mentioned earlier about the gift of the mind, because we do have, I mean, it is a gift, isn't it? I mean, everything I see is a gift. It's wonderful to kind of have the imagination. I love the tool of imagination and creativity, coming. the ideas that come through the mind to write a book like you have written this beautiful book. I want to show you a book here just because I just mentioned now. I forgot because we talked about it in the first conversation. We're almost at the end, but I want to show
Yeah.
the radical path, the somatic dharma. So, in this is, are you the only person who is teaching somatic dharma? I never heard this
No,
before.
I know of, let's see, I know personally three other people, uh, 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 two female lamas,
Yeah,
Lama Willa Baker, Lama Liz Munson out in Colorado, Reggie Ray. One of the earlier books I wrote about the posture of meditation of all the Dharma teachers in the world, Reggie was the one who resonated with it and got it and
right.
really, really ran with that. Uh, uh, you know, Goenka Vipassana is very much about awakening sensations. It's not so much then about letting go and relaxing, but increasingly there's more and more orientation towards it's got to awaken through the whole body, or it's not an awakening. It's just another
True.
mind state. I want to pull the plug on this thing,
Yeah.
entirely, and then visual field and sound and sensation, they all kind of collapse down. They,
Right.
they merge. Body radiates, just like that picture.
It's
And
beautiful.
right out of every pixel of the visual field that comes right through.
Mm,
And a sound kind of cements that. It's like a crack in the
yeah.
world of appearances.
Yes.
Opens up, and you just dissolve and glide right through. And I like it there.
And I love that, and I
Yeah,
like it there. who who wouldn't? Yes. So
yeah.
we're almost at the end. I do want to ask you a question. It's more like a technical question about what you mentioned before about the three tiers of psychedelic use.
Yeah, yeah.
One of that it's caught my attention is the third one. So daily microdosing, micro practice. Is that can we do that every day, every single day, or it's not safe that way?
You have to make that own decision for yourself. I uh, uh, pretty much at this point, if I sit down, I will use a small amount of cannabis, maybe once every few weeks, a small amount of psilocybin, a small amount of LSD,
Yeah.
small amounts,
Yes.
right? And again, they work for the sitting practices. So we have the strong doses to maybe clear out some of our right? And then we have the vision questing that happened for many of us
Yeah.
uh, in the 60s.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do with that? I want a daily practice that keeps nurturing and
Mm,
fostering that healing and awakening
mm,
and the glimpses of what's possible for human being that
mm.
maybe people experienced working with a psychedelic psychotherapist, or
Yeah.
maybe what we experienced up on the mountain in 1966, right up in the
Yeah.
Sierra, and
Yeah.
you just let go and surrender.
Yeah.
It's
Huh.
interesting. The therapy, I want people to go beyond the therapy and have the real awakening, in the awakening into whatever word works for you, the great wide open, Mahamudra, ground straight, union, God, whatever word, that
Right.
we realize that's what this is. That's what's coming through.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I also, for people in the 60s, there were no guardrails. So some people got into trouble. So I feel do your therapy, do your vision questing, and then bring a practice into your life. That's what I teach.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's real to me. It feels, although I have never tried, but as a practice, because I have different kinds of. Yeah, we are different. I love the way you say that too. It's very personal. Like even with the microdosing for me, there's been different practices. Have you heard about the golden flower? The practice is a practice too. It's a meditation.
The secret of the golden flower
Yeah, right.
was the very first spiritual book that I ever read in my life
Oh
as a
wow.
junior in university,
Yeah.
because this is interesting, because I got into Carl Jung. in
Yes.
university, and he did maybe an introduction to that. And I remember reading that. I will share something. There
Yes.
is one uh, phrase saying a confirmatory experience, the gods are in the valley. And
Mm,
remember, I said when these experiences were happening to me as a young
mm,
child,
mm.
I couldn't put words on them, but I had images.
Yeah.
And at one point, I had the image of sitting at the edge of a very high rocky escarpment, looking over a vast
Mm,
valley. It was so interesting. I would
mm,
see a giraffe slowly, maybe a
mm,
mile away on the floor, lumbering along, and the silence was deafening. And when I read that, the gods are in the valley, I went, oh,
ah,
I think I know
mm,
what they're talking about there.
mm. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that's a book or a practice or a group of people are doing a teaching along this that you're familiar with.
Yes, I'm doing it's more the practice. Of course, I read the book, but it became very natural to me. It was like I was called to it. Usually I find things because I'm called to them, and then they find me in a sense, and then we kind of connect. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Let's dance a little bit with this one. And then I
Yeah,
dance with different practices. But the secret of the golden flower, I call the golden flower meditation. So it's Mm, the thing for me is that it becomes again like this very not only intellectual. It becomes an experience, but it's out of body experience. It's still out there. I have all these visions. It's beautiful, but then what you're suggesting here with the invitation is to bring this to the body, or maybe even begin with the body, and it's already here. Actually, it's not out there. It's already all here.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit of both. Look, the condition that we live in, we're locked in our minds. We're hardly breathing. And people really examine how they're breathing. It doesn't even really constitute sniffing. And then
Right.
the Buddhists talking about a breath that can
Yeah.
move the whole body. How different is that? Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, we're so out of touch with this. And out of touch with this, we
Yeah.
not only do not have access to some of these deeper vision states, but we
Mm,
don't have access to the grounding awakening. I'm not just saying that the body is just here for grounding, because the awakening of this
mm,
current of the life force
mm.
just no more bumper cars. Suddenly, a visual field floods into us. There's no barrier here.
Right.
Suddenly, every
Mm,
every
mm,
sensation, it's merging with every little pixel of the visual field. Sound,
yeah.
permeates it, and that's where, for me, the vision of what's ultimately real. And again, I'm
Mm,
happier there,
yeah.
much more.
I love that. I'm happier there. And the there is really spaceless there. Or it might be, I mean, we can come to the body again, but it's, yeah, I love the metaphor of the groundless ground. It's just like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing really holding. We can,
Oh,
everything's so freedom itself
yeah,
that there's no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Uh,
there.
it,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, it is, and it's we can call it there, but I'm reminded, who is it? Alice B. Toklas, who is a companion of Gertrude Stein in Paris in the early 1900s. She wrote about Oakland, where she came from. There's no there there. And that's true of this. It's not a place that I'm trying to get to. I've got it now. And
right.
I'm here and I'm grabbing. Soon as I claim ownership of it, it's
Right. It
gone.
disappears. Yeah.
Because this is
Mm,
all just
mm,
about just
mm,
flowing. The concepts
mm,
are
mm,
eternally changing. So
mm.
airless.
Ah. Yeah, maybe that's why it calls my attention when you say I'm happier there. I'm happy
Yeah,
there. And then
yeah.
that something in me says, wait a minute, there's no there there.
There's
It's
no
just
there there.
no
There's no
destination, no
there
place.
there. Uh-uh,
Mm, yeah, it's just we're using words, but yes, yeah. So it's wonderful to become the realization that we are freedom itself, right? Well, so now even with the breath, I try not to hold on to anything, even the practices of I gotta breathe in a certain way in order to be this way or feel this
Uh,
way or be this way. No, just let go of everything. and that's and just play with it. Everything that's whatever it is that's here, tightness, whatever that's here, just stay with it. And that's
yeah,
in a sense of just dancing with whatever comes in as the flow of life. So that's how I tend to kind of navigate this reality, which is not something that most people are comfortable with, because most of us have the sense of control, the I, oh, it
uh,
has to be my way and I have to.
uh,
So, and for me it's has been a very a double a double sworded type of thing,
yeah, double-edged sword.
double, yeah, because then yeah, we live in a society that's very much with all kinds of people and structures, and then I bump into some the edges of some structures that are not really ready to let go and play with this freedom. And that's, do you feel that way too? I have to ask this question.
Well, constantly, like you said earlier, it's layer by layer by layer. We start off, we're kind of numb, and all of a sudden, oh, wow, there's tingling, shimmering. Oh, I want to live here forever. But what that does, it's like sweeping the stage. I think of opera. First act, everything is joyous. They sweep the stage, and all hell breaks loose, right? So you
Yeah,
get this awakening, it's shimmery, and then deeper, more viscous layers come. And then
yeah,
ah, you
yeah,
go into right into them and right through them. And I'm also thinking sometimes I get queried by Buddhist practitioners. Well, what is a Buddhist teacher? If you're if you're a Buddhist teacher,
yeah,
maybe not.
right.
What are you teaching? And I said, well, I teach the Buddha's culminating instruction on breathing. As you breathe in through the whole body. As you breathe out through the whole body. And there is something wonderful about this place of letting go at the onset of inhalation
Yeah,
and finding that breath. Having said that, the goal of the practice is not to perfect breathing through the whole body. It's finding that, and
mm,
suddenly that sort of opens you to the current, and you go with that. And sometimes the breath is big, and then a deeper layer is popped. These deep layers of pain that
yeah,
hide. We're not even aware of them.
oh yeah,
They take our breath away, not in a good way.
yeah, true,
And
yeah.
so there you just stay there until,
Mm.
and then now go through the next one and down through the next one, down through the next one.
Right, right. So yeah, that's a beautiful practice. No, with the gold, the secret of the golden flower. I don't know if you remember this, but they talk about the heart, that don't let the heart, kind of go everywhere into pieces when something happens. So keep it together in a sense. So basically crystallizing the spirit. So the heart needs to die in that sense. So maybe that's what you're referring. That's what I understood. Basically, like navigating the toughest parts in us. These the unconscious. Oh, that's with Carl Jung. I've been done a lot of that work. I love that. Even through storytellings these days, I'm just so. There's something about storytelling that is using myth and metaphors that's kind of moving those parts too in the
Mhm,
unconscious.
mhm.
It's a kind of dangerous realm to play with, the unconscious, but I kind of I kind of play with that too.
For some of us, that has knocked on our door.
Mm.
It's too dangerous not to play with it.
Ah, right.
There's a statement I always loved. I think it's from something called the Essene Gospel of Thomas. Bring forth what's inside you. You know,
Mm.
everything. It's feelings, it's sensations, it's visions. Bring forth what's inside you, and what's inside you will heal you.
Mm.
Don't bring forth what's inside you.
Mm.
Oh, not going there. No, no, thank you. Don't interest in that. And what's inside you will uh, suffocate you,
Right.
destroy you.
Right. And even that's so true. And even I heard recently about the that we try to remove kind of get rid of those parts of us that we feel like we are ashamed of and all that. And then we also remove the parts that are gifts, the
Totally.
talents that we have. So we have to
Totally, totally.
integrate them in a way. It goes back to wholeness. And that's why your
Yes.
teachings to me, they keep coming back to wholeness. Breathe,
Wholeness.
Is your whole body. Breathe with the whole body. It's the whole.
Yes.
Yeah, it goes back to living as a
Yes.
whole human being.
Yes. And there's a place where you can just kind of shift gears a little bit and experience, be aware, you feel the whole body all at once. All at
Wow.
once. It's
Yeah.
just here, right? Wow. Just like that. So we have, look at, we have pockets of pain in
Yes.
our body. I think of those chronic pains as
Pockets
like
of pain everywhere. Yeah.
somatic black holes. They've sucked all the sensation, the shimmer, and the motion out of the surrounding tissue. So pain in the shoulder, that shoulder never moves when you breathe.
Mm, mm,
So for me, you don't want to go in there like a tumor and cut it out and throw it away,
right.
because these places, they're impeccable. Our discomforts. The impeccable teacher, no body therapist or enlightened guru or anybody could be any more precise than going, oh, it's right here where you want to
Yeah.
go. It's
Yeah.
right. Oh, what's going on there?
Mm, mm, yeah.
So we want to just all the pain is hiding the it's hoarding the enlightenment.
Mm,
It's black
mm,
hole.
mm,
So we just want to open it again and bring all of it back to life as an integral part of
mm,
the feeling body,
mm.
the body of shimmer.
Yes, that's beautiful. I have to ask you, quite, have you done a course? Do you have a course about your teachings online?
There's a number of them.
Oh, you do.
Uh, Mostly, what I'm doing right now, I have a sangha. Next year, we're going to meet every Saturday morning for an
Mm,
hour.
yeah,
Everybody is welcome to that. People can find information about that on my website,
yeah.
embodiment.net.
Um, mm,
Uh, there's a number of recordings. Tricycle Magazine did a video series of posture of meditation,
yeah.
and there's going to be a very, very large release. And I think it's February, on a very, very large subscribed app called the Waking Up app. It
Mm,
has like 500,000 subscribers, and I've done a recording, 14 episodes of
oh,
instructional audios.
yeah.
So they're there. But I invite people, get in touch with me. Go onto the website, get onto my newsletter, and
Yeah.
come on these Saturdays in the new year and
Mm.
experience what we're playing with here.
Yes, I love that. I love the play again. Thank you for saying that way.
It is play.
It's a
Yeah,
play.
you look at this is very serious work, but
Not like that.
it
Yeah.
ain't gonna happen. It ain't
Yeah.
gonna happen
I
like
agree. I agree.
that.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
really
Thank
welcome.
you. I want to mention again the website's embodiment.net and all your books on Amazon, I think on your website too. So
Right.
everything that Will just spoke of about the course, it's on his website, workshops and everything. Thank you so much again for your beautiful presence, for meeting me again, and we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again.
Okay.
Bye for now, Will.
Bye
Bye.
for now.
Yes, namaste.